Hi, Rich here. We're at Beaver Dam State Park. This is one of the things I thought was most beginners don't have a farm that they can go to or a stretch of woods that nobody else goes to. They're going to do it in parks and occasionally like a barbecue grill at home. So those are the kind of things we're going to focus at, places like that. Public campsites for this series. Later on we may throw out some things that are way out in the middle of nowhere. Things that you might encounter if you're doing like a hike along the Ozark Trail, things like that. But for today, we're going to start with some stuff on the fire, and we'll get this all in sequence. We'll talk about everything and why I have things like I do. We'll get to that. Let's get going. You might think that all these leaves would be something I would want. But you notice that they're sitting on the ground. That means there's a good chance they're holding moisture. And now to start a fire, it all depends on what we need. You need kindling, tinder, and then we're going to have things to build from there. So, the tinder though, is what you need if you're going to do like friction fire or for most people ferro rods. My favorite kindling though are hollowed or weeds, dried weeds. Now these, see, it doesn't break very easily, but it does. But look at that. The key here is surface area. And I'll show you that in a minute. We'll show you a surface area effect using this. Okay. So here we have a little branch. You can see how it goes out. Now trees tend to be self-pruning, so oftentimes these might be dead. So I'm bending, and if it bends like that did, then it's not dead. But if it's dead and snaps, then I have good tinder. So that's what I'm often looking for, is things like that. So if I find some, we'll show you. When you're wanting to start a fire, even if it is a problem with a briar, they might be really dead. So if I take care, I can snap these. And I have something to use, but I'll have to take real care with that. Being as it's late in the fall, but not all the way late. Again, these weeds have a lot of moisture still in them. But let's look at these little branches. Oh, did you hear that snap? That's the kind of stuff I want for starting my fire. That's what I want for my tinder. That's what I want for my kindling. Now here I can see where they've had things that have fallen through the season and been put out here. So this is a good source for wood. We're going to have to just pay attention to what we get. A lot of this is forsythia. It dies off early. It's kind of hollow and pithy. Okay, now these pieces I gathered off the ground. So they're not my first choice for a fire. But this down here is full of wet ash. It's just cold and water. So I guarantee you that this, more of those little, more triggers. I guarantee you that this is drier than the ash. So I'm going to break these up and make a surface down here that I can start my fire on. Okay. Now that I have this laid out, I want you to notice that there's a lot of openings, so plenty of air can get through, and I'll put my stuff on it. So I'll show you that here in a minute and what we're going to do about it. We're going to talk about, so you have tinder. Tinder is something that catches fire quickly, easily, or smolders, but it will take it fast. You want, so this is what tinder would be, but it doesn't last long. See how we can just get the flare and flash. So this would be something I might be able to get to take a spark from a ferro rod. Okay. Now, we're going to talk matches. Matches are my favorite, but matches tend to do away with the need for tinder. So, because the match becomes a tinder. Now, those are my rose. And let me take this off. So here we have kindling, my next stage for kindling, this and the next, one after. Now these are some more of the wild briars roses. Now I'll take some of my dried weeds, and yes, I'm losing some. All right, so using my match as my kindling, once things start going, I'll put more on. And as the flames come up, I can add even more. But I don't want to cut off the air supply. Here, out of the smoke. Throw some larger. When the flames are burning it well enough, there won't be a lot of smoke. So we're not fully igniting yet. As it does, the smoke will dwindle. So we can see what's happening. As the flames are becoming more and more established, I'm going to now, as the flames are becoming more and more established, I can begin to put some of my larger wood on. And right now we're at a place where I can even start putting this on, which the stuff here now is basically finger diameter. When that's burning, we can consider it a self-sustaining fire. We don't have to wet nurse it. One match. The match was its own kindling, or its own tinder, and it started the kindling. So one match can do a fire. No paper. We'll cover this more in detail later on. Here's a one match fire. So, one match fire. A little bit of preparation and knowing what you're going for. And look what we can do. Hickory nut. Squirrels have been busy. Now, you may notice that some of these didn't burn nearly as well. And that's because these were gotten off the ground. So they have moisture in them. And they don't burn as well. But I wasn't trying to keep the fire going to cook, or I would have had more wood set here. As these burn through, we could take and break them and re-add them to the fire. So, but unless you're, silly and been doing this stuff for a long time, I don't recommend just sticking your hand in the fire like that. But I'm silly and I've been doing it a long time.